The dust is settling on the automotive market ever since we've had all the supply chain disruptions. And you can say we're going to keep having disruptions with the current political situations going on. Now that the dust is settling, inventory is starting to swell. Sales are looking good for now, but I'm not very hopeful on 2025's sales. And if we head on over to Cox Automotive, they have by far the most raw data in the automotive market. I don't talk about them a lot because their stuff is very dry and you have to kind of siphon the information out of there and then, make your own opinions. But this is very concerning for Hyundai and many other automakers. Over the last year, Hyundai has gained the most days supply, up nearly 40 days of supply over last year. Jeep and Ram have dropped the most, down to 54 and 56 days respectively. However, they are still some of the highest day supply despite seeing massive drops. We're going to talk about what's happening with the auto industry right now, the lack of demand for certain products, the enormous demand for other products. We're going to get into this, and I'm going to maybe give you some advice if you're thinking about buying in 2025. Guys, grab your snacks and drinks, buckle in, and there could be deals to be had in 2025. Let's get into it. The 6 best sellers in February, which are repeat best sellers, by the way, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Honda, Hyundai, and Kia, the best sellers, are accounting for 58% of all sales. Now, what's interesting for these best-selling brands is their average price is $42,000, whereas the average sales price for all brands is $48,000. So we're seeing this trend in the market pushing for lower transaction prices. We have high interest rates still, and these manufacturers are offering 50 models at or below the average transaction price. Let's get into this. I mean, if you're buying a Lexus or Toyota, the chances of you getting a deal is, well, you might be able to get MSRP. If you're lucky, you'll get below MSRP. Same thing for Honda. All right. Acura, their volume is so limited. That's why their day supply is pretty low here. But this does not paint the story of like demand. All right, I think demand has fallen on Acura quite a bit. They have no TLXs available. The MDX, all of their models are low in inventory, except probably the ZDX. And the ZDX is actually propping up their sales seemingly a bit artificially for the brand. Volkswagen, stay tuned. I am driving the GLI this week. It's been recently refreshed. I am liking it quite a bit, but stay tuned for the GLI review. So Volkswagen has a very low supply too. Kia. Now, what's surprising here is Kia is beating the brakes off of partner Hyundai. I don't understand why there's this huge difference in Hyundai inventory and day supply, I should say, at 133 days supply for Hyundai and just 82 days supply for Kia. It doesn't make sense. And if I have any Hyundai Kia people that are in the dealer side of things, maybe the sales into things, management side of things, I would love to see you in the comments. It's a puzzle that I can't put together, why Kia is so much more desirable than Hyundai. Now, maybe Kia, here's the thing, maybe Kia has more affordable models. If we look at Kia, all right, they have the Seltos, they have the Niro, they have the Soul. Maybe the Soul's selling quite well. Look at how many Kia Souls I can find right now under $20,000. I mean, and the K4s too, guys. The K4s are getting massive discounts. That's probably why I'm seeing them everywhere. I'd rather have, actually, I kind of like the Kia Soul. It has some charm to it. I love how boxy it is, but I haven't driven the new K4 and I've heard really good things about it. But if they're only $20,000 for now, remember, these are made in Mexico. We don't know what the future with the tariffs are going to be on this, but that's why we're seeing so much volume here for Kia, in my opinion, and the day supply being much lower than Hyundai. Going to Hyundai, let's look at their cheapest cars. Well, we have some Elantras down there, and the K4s, I mean, I'd rather have a K4 over the Elantra. Right now, the K4 is brand new. It's going to offer newer technology, more than likely. The Venue, I'd rather have a Kia Soul than a Venue. The Kia Soul, I would rather have over the venue, and the Soul costs $2,000 less. At least when you're looking bargain price to bargain price. And if you look at the Elantra and the K4, I would take a K4 over the Elantra. And we're not talking about the hybrid here. It seems like Hyundai is not doing as good of a job as Kia at the bottom end of the market with volume and desirability. But I don't, guys, that's just a small piece of the puzzle. I don't know if that's the only reason why Kia is having so much more success at moving their inventory compared to Hyundai. And so maybe Kia is doing a better job at getting the price points right and maybe getting the right volume for those price points that are selling quite well. You know, Kia and Hyundai have a very similar product, right? But they don't have the same management. They don't have the same strategy. So there's some huge divide here between these two companies. Why one has ballooning inventory and ballooning days supply compared to the other. Subaru also selling quite well, quite fast. BMW selling fast, GMC. And then we hit the average. All right. So the average, it's just so crazy to see the average way over here and then all these other brands so high. You would think the average would be somewhere in the middle, but these brands have more than they might have more than like 50% of the volume essentially, especially when you include Chevy. Now, look at Porsche, under 100-day supply. Why is Porsche low? You would think expensive vehicles right now would be sitting on the lot. Well, Porsches also have a ton of custom orders, so they don't have the same sort of inventory as a mass market brand. Cadillac, Land Rover. Then we have this big jump from 98 to 109, all right? The first big jump we saw from Lexus, Toyota to Honda, and then Honda was a big jump to Acura and Volkswagen, and then it was a slow rise to Land Rover, then we have a huge jump to Chrysler. So it's like these brands, Chrysler all the way to Ford, are on another level of ballooning inventory. Now, even though the article mentions Jeep and Ram is doing better than they were compared to last year, they're not doing good. All right. Just because you reduce manufacturing supply doesn't mean you're doing great. It means that you're cutting your losses, but you're still losing. You're reducing the bleeding. You're doing some patchwork to stop certain wounds from bleeding you out. And that's what Nissan's having to do right now with a drop in production around the world. And we're seeing it with Stellantis products as well. Nissan and Stellantis are hit by very similar lack of demand on their products. But what's interesting with Hyundai and Nissan being right next to each other, I wanted to see if I could find competitors and compare them, like which model would I rather have, and are we seeing similar price drops between the two brands? So let's start with the Santa Fe versus the Pathfinder. I'm looking at lowest prices. The Santa Fe, the lowest prices on this base model I'm seeing is about $31,000. Going to a Pathfinder, we're even seeing it cheaper at $30,000. Now, at this price, I'd rather have a Pathfinder. I like the looks of the Pathfinder better. Technology's not as good, but the V6 is better than the 2.5 turbo. And the 9-speed auto here is a lot better than Hyundai's lethargic 8-speed auto. Okay, so the Pathfinder, in my opinion, is objectively a better vehicle. Now, if you're looking at the hybrid Santa Fe, that's very different. And the hybrid Santa Fe, I would very much consider. Are there price drops happening on Hyundai's hybrids? Look how much, here's the thing. It's $7,000 more expensive than the turbo. I know it's SEL compared to SE, but that's pretty crazy. Am I at the lowest price? I am at the lowest price. So the Santa Fe hybrids must have a much higher demand, and they're not dropping the prices on them seemingly as much as a turbo model. The Palisade has big volume. The Santa Fe has big volume. Where's the Tucson? The Tucson is their best-selling vehicle, over 3,000 units here. Let's compare Tucson prices. We're at $26K here. What about, let's go ahead and look up Rogue prices. Rogue prices coming in at $25K. I just drove the Rogue. It's not that great of a vehicle. $26K here, and the Tucson is at $26K. Let me know which you would rather have. The Tucson does not have a CVT. I'd probably take a Tucson over a Rogue, but they're being priced at about the same. Now we're gonna look at the pickup trucks for these brands. One's a true pickup truck body on frame, the Frontier with the big V6 standard. I love the Frontier; it's my favorite midsize pickup truck. The Santa Cruz, you can start getting them. Let's see here, for 25K. We're seeing price drops on 27K, but guys, you're looking at a measly 4-cylinder compared to a 310 horsepower V6 for about the same price. And this is a true rugged pickup truck. You know, I know it's 4-door standard here, but I'm picking a Frontier every day of the week. And a part of that is like the Santa Cruz struggles to compete against the Maverick because of its affordability. It's getting more affordable. It seems like we're seeing $5,000 drops on the MSRP, and this is the new refresh. The refresh is not moving the needle at all. The refresh needed to bring in a hybrid for Hyundai, and it's just not doing it for them. All right, so I'm not sure why Hyundai hasn't given it the hybrid, but the Frontier is so much better of a buy for about the same price that it's like it's not even worth considering the Santa Cruz. At the beginning of this Cox Automotive article, this is what's making me a little bit worried here, is that they're saying, well, yeah, February was great, and it's because of tax season. We're getting possibly record high tax refunds here, about $3,500, which was a 7% increase year over year. So people are getting their tax refunds and going to the car market to put a down payment on a car. But guys, $3,500 is the average refund, and the average listing price is $48K. 3,500 divided by, what was it, 48,000? It's only 7% down payment. That's not a lot. That's not going to move the needle that much in terms of monthly payment. Assuming they'd be putting all this down. I don't know, right? It's going to depend on the buyer. They're saying people are worried about tariffs potentially, and that's why they're buying right now as well. We don't know how the tariffs are necessarily going to affect the car market for the rest of this year, but from just a really zoomed out perspective, it doesn't look like it's going to have a favorable effect on sticker prices. So if sticker prices go up because of the tariffs, well, people are going to be more checked out because affordability is already difficult. So it's like the manufacturers are going to be suffering, I think, for 2025. We already saw in my video earlier this week how Teslas are depreciating a lot. Their sales are down, even on new car end, for lots of different reasons. It's going to be happening to most of these manufacturers. So going back to this article or this graph here, anyone above 100-day supply is going to be like shaking in their boots right now, because the rest of the year, well, we're not going to have tax refunds. The rest of the year, you're going to have increased costs to make cars due to tariffs. More than likely, we don't know what the tariff situation is going to eventually, what the dust is going to settle there on. If they're going to be 25%, Mexico and Canada, like it's a day-to-day situation. From the perspective now on the tariffs, all these numbers are probably going to go up. And these numbers could stay about the same. There's no lack of demand on Toyotas and Hondas right now with how fast they're selling. You could even say, you know, the rest of these brands under the green are going to be fine in 2025. Depending on how bad things could get in 2025, could we see some of these brands just disappearing? I mean, Mini's not even on the list. Mini's so far off the list here that they didn't even make the list. Ford, Buick, Dodge, Hyundai, Nissan, Infiniti, Jeep, Mazda. This is the crazy thing. Mazda just broke all-time sales record last year. They're focusing so much on volume, but look at their day supply. Does this mean that people like the Mazda market, are they pushing volume too much? This is what Nissan got in trouble with years ago. However, seemingly Mazda has better quality than Nissan. Like Mazda doesn't even have a CVT other than the eCVT, which is on their CX-50 hybrid. Okay, at least in America. So like Mazda's just, if they have more hybrids, which they will over time, we have a launch of a new CX-5 this year. but the hybrid could be delayed from what I'm hearing. But Mazda seemingly is still in a good spot, but I think they're going to have to discount their cars quite a bit. Anyone over this green line is going to have to discount their cars massively as 2025 goes on. I mean, we talked about Mitsubishi earlier this month. Mitsubishi's a one-car brand at this point until new models coming into 2027. 25 is going to be a bloodbath for them despite their Outlander getting a mild refresh. I know it's not apples to oranges here, but this gives you an idea where the market's trending to. Down below is May 2024 in terms of days supply. We've gone up 13 days supply on average. But look, Kia was at 61 days supply. Now they're up to 82. Toyota and Lexus are still floating under 45. That's pretty crazy. Honda's day supply has actually gone up about 20 days. Honda's getting that supply up, despite the Accord not even having a true presence on the market right now due to the Marysville auto plant being reworked. And the Accord is a traditional one of the best-selling vehicles for Honda. Now, Dodge has come down. But look where Ford has gone. Ford has gone from 100 days supply to 138 days supply from May to February. Hyundai, 84 days supply to 133 days supply. And no one's going to beat Hyundai with the surge of inventory and days supply. They seem to be the most volatile company right now on the list. You know, you have some companies that have just sucked in the last year, 2-3 years, and they've consistently been at the bottom of the list, like Dodge, Buick, Nissan, Infiniti. I mean, where did Volvo go? Volvo must have fallen off the list. I don't even see them on here. Now, Volvo sales seem to be fairly decent in the United States, but not looking good for Volvo. And then look down here. We should also keep in mind Jaguar, which is a dead brand in my opinion, and Alfa Romeo. They're not even on this list. You have Land Rover, but not Jaguar or Alfa. And of course, they had more than double the average supply, but that was 76. So we're talking about 150 day supply. Now Mini has over 180 day supply. So the market's turning. We keep getting more inventory. So what does this mean for the customer? Like, it doesn't look good for the manufacturers to have this much supply. What does this mean for the customers? Well, I think as the year goes on, especially these brands with over 100 days supply, you're going to be able to get killer deals on these cars. You're already able to get killer deals on Nissan and maybe Buicks. I haven't really looked at Ford, but these brands with over 100 days supply, they're begging for business. They're begging for you to come in and buy their car to reduce the lot rot that they have, the cars that are just siphoning money from them as they sit on the lot for 3-4 months at a time. They need to sell these cars to stay profitable. And when they're desperate over 100 days supply like this, they're going to be more than likely, you're going to have some that are going to be hard-headed and want to make as much money. Of course, they all want to make as much money on their car transactions. But you, the buyer, you have the power over all these brands. If you want a Genesis, for example, you're going to be able to get a Genesis for a really good deal with how long they're sitting on lots. If you want a Nissan right now, go get a Frontier, a Pathfinder, go lease a cheap Kicks right now or a Sentra. There's crazy deals to be had. Same thing with all these other brands. But just keep in mind, like Ford, for example, even though their supply is huge, their brand is so heavily focused on pickup trucks. So their pickup trucks can sit around for a long time. It might not affect them that badly. But if you look at the Maverick, you're not going to get a good deal on a Maverick compared to like an F-150 or a Super Duty right now, or a Lightning. Gosh, they're probably giving Lightnings away right now. Buick, though, Buick is just a brand of, you have a Chinese-made crossover, you have Korean-made crossovers, and then I think you have one American-made crossover in their lineup. Okay, so Buick, very interestingly, has such big supply. You'd be able to get a Buick for peanuts right now. And they're good city cars, especially the small ones. I haven't tested the bigger ones recently. So, yeah, I think you'll be fine there. Dodge, Gosh, I can't imagine how long the Charger EV sitting around on lots right now. I bet you can get crazy deals, 15, 20 grand off of MSRP. Hyundai, I don't know about Hyundai. We just looked at Nissan and the prices are about the same as Nissan, which tracks, right? Because their day supply is about the same. Infinity's essentially a two-car brand right now. I don't know. Maybe you can get a good deal on a QX60, but only lease it. The QX80 is a good car, but the Armada is a better car for less money, in my opinion. Mazda's the jewel here. Mazda, in my opinion, the most fun car to drive for the best price. Really good interiors. They're not the most efficient cars. They look great though. Really good build quality. So Mazda on this list is probably going to be the best deal you can have on the market right now. Mitsubishi, I don't know. Unless you get a crazy deal on an Outlander PHEV, I wouldn't buy a Mitsubishi. I don't see a lot of hope for Mitsubishi in the next couple of years. Same thing with Genesis. Audi, surprisingly, has a really high day supply. Where parent company Volkswagen is way shorter supply. It's very strange because if you see Lexus, Toyota right next to each other, Honda, Acura right next to each other, Chevy, Cadillac right next to each other. But I'm going to shut it down there. It's just interesting to see. I'll probably update you guys on a monthly basis like I typically do with car sales. I like the car sales in more than the day's supply. But hey, I think most people probably got their tax refunds back already. This small surge that we had in February is going to be short-lived, and I think the rest of the year is going to be up. It's going to have its ups and downs, that's for sure. With the day supply, it's probably going to keep coming up, but then you have the manufacturers cutting production, like Nissan, like Dodge, for example, Stellantis. They're cutting production too, so they don't have too much volume to meet the lack of demand. All right. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more industry auto news updates, and let me know which brand you are most worried about. Of course, I'm always worried about Nissan, but Hyundai is becoming a rising question mark, and so is Kia, right? Why is one brand seemingly selling so much better than the other, despite having same powertrains and a lot of the same components? I'll catch you guys in the comments. Have a great day. Stay safe out there, and peace.